everybody. My name is Rebecca. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome for the first time. Whatever applies to you, I don't care. I am here to show you my tarot journaling evolution, how I've used journals to try and do tarot journaling and what I'm doing now, blah de blah de blah. So I have my pile of books here because I need them. And yeah, let's just get started. So, as you might have seen if you checked out my last video, which was tarot and oracle decks I have and how I use them and all that, I gave a little backstory. Basically, I didn't like tarot, then I did, then I didn't again, and then I really wanted to give it a try. It's more complicated than that makes it sound. However, I've already explained that, so you can go check out that video. It's linked up above in the cards. It's right towards the beginning, so you can listen to that there. When I decided I wanted to start trying to make peace with tarot, is when I started journaling. So I'm just gonna show you where we started. I was using this deck, the Spirit Song Tarot, to rekindle or to find my place with tarot. And I started with just this. So I felt the need to journal. I journal about pretty much everything in the world. I love journaling. That's why I have so many. So I would write down the name of the card and bullet points. So that's the very first thing I did. And then I realized as I was going that that there were specific cards I felt I needed to work with more closely. So I set up this spread. So that way I could note if there was a card I wanted to do some more work with. I didn't end up finishing this spread or using it really, but I think it's a cool idea. So I had them listed in order: Major Arcana, the Acorns. This deck uses different suits. So acorns, shells, feathers, and crystals. It goes on to this next page. And what I was doing was I wrote in all the names of them. And then as I was going through, if I was looking at it and I was like, I want to do more work with it, I wrote a box. The idea was once I had done some work with that card, I would check off or put an X in the box. As you can see, that did not happen. I've got some more notes I took on them, a little bit more here. It was at this point I decided I really wanted a dedicated space. So what I did was I grabbed an empty journal that I happened to have lying around, and I titled it. I have a video of this journal when I first set it up, and it's one of my most watched videos. I will make sure to link that up above too. So I just titled it Tarot Study. I wrote a bit about the tarot I was using because at the time I figured maybe I'd use this for other tarot decks as well, And then I put what the suits were and the signs they corresponded to. And then I was just doing the same thing. I was going through, and on my initial go through, I was making notes on all of them. Some cards I was able to get more notes than others based on the pictures. And that's what I did for the tarot. And it went all the way through. Some I didn't really get any notes. At the bottom, I started to write the keywords. and I had a page set up in advance for every single card in the deck. And I did go through every card, even though not all of the cards gave me something to go off of. So I was finding as I was going through this that this just wasn't working. I was having a bunch of empty spaces. The pages were essentially waste. I watched some videos about tarot and I made notes. And then somewhere around this point I decided I wanted to do daily cards. So it would have been in July, obviously. So I was pulling a card from my Spirit Song and from Nature's Whispers. So I would write the number so I could know what deck it was. And at this point in July, I realized that this style, the way I had thought it would work, wasn't working. And I wanted to track my daily cards. So I went back into my book of mirrors and I built that same spread here. I gave each day 2 lines because I was drawing 2 cards and I wrote what they were. And I didn't like that setup, so I set up this page here, the Myself in Tarot, based on numerology. My name comes out to 5, and in the Spirit Song deck that made my name the Eagle or Shaman, and my soul number comes down to 8, which is Strength or the Elephant in the Spirit Song deck. This one changes a bit because it's weird. So I decided to do daily tarot, and I had discovered how much I just love doing boxes. I love box trackers like this, like pixel trackers. So I made one. I'd seen this on Pinterest, but I didn't like their specific symbols, because that was using like a Rider-Waite-Smith deck and I wasn't. So I went through my major arcana cards and I made symbols based on those cards and the feeling I get from them. So I would, every day I pulled a card for a while, I would put in what they were. And then for my other deck, the Nature's Whispers deck I was using, I just put in the number of the card. Each of them have a number, so I just put in that number. So when I discovered I liked this and I started to integrate, I moved these things over. That was this sounds so confusing, but you know, my brain's weird, so that's just what you get. It was at that point that I had started using this book as a bullet journal, so I just added my tracker in when I added the rest. Exact same tracker here. I put in my previous cards. There was a gap where I wasn't drawing daily cards, as you can see. So that's when I added that, and I still do this. I'll show you my new one in a couple minutes. So this was really the first settled thing I do with tarot that made a lot of sense and that stuck. The second thing I started to do was my monthly card. So in November-ish, my husband gave me the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit deck he had, and I started drawing a monthly card. So at the beginning of the month, I draw the card. I write out little notes about it, what sticks out to me. And the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit deck has a really cool thing. In the guidebook, it'll say what it's like if it's in balance, what the energy is like if it's out of balance, and how to bring it into balance. So at the beginning of the month, I write out what the card is. I do some little notes on it, And then at the end of the month, I reflect. And I've done that a couple times. And that is still something I am doing. Here's my January card. I haven't reflected back on it yet. So this is my 2020 card and my January card. Another thing I am currently doing is I recently did, since I got a new tarot, I did a year ahead spread with the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit deck and the Wild Unknown Tarot together. I drew one card from each deck for each month, and then for the overall theme. So when I did that, it took forever. My hand really hurt. It was a really fun experience. I took notes. So I took notes based on the Wild Unknown Tarot card. I took notes based on the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit card, and then I just put what my overall impressions were. And I came back a bit later and I added some doodles to give the energy. So these are these pages. I haven't done any reflections on them, and if I do reflections, I don't know where I'll put them. I'll have to come up with new pages because these are all full, but I really loved adding this. This page is so cool. Look at my ants. So that style of journaling for tarot is definitely one that I love. It's definitely one that I love and that I'm going to keep doing. The other things I'm trying now and so far really enjoying is, so my Llewellyn's Witches date book. You might have seen this if you watched my 2020 planner lineup video, which you can check out linked up above in the cards. What I've done with this is I've marked all the months with washi so I can find them easier. And this is what I'm doing. As I said, on my notes, I put what my cards of the month are. And then every day I'm just putting in, so I like having the visuals, so this way I can put in, and at the end of the month I'll have a visual of like major themes. Like so far there's a lot of major arcana themes going on, so big things. Oh, so that's all I do here. I just put in whatever the color code, whatever the symbol and notation for that card means in my daily card tracker. I just put it in here as if it was. The S means sun. And then every day I've just been doing little notes about what's going on with these cards. I put up in the corner, I put the symbols for the card, so 10 of Swords. I don't do color there, I like symbols. So that's other tarot journaling I'm doing right now. So far, I really am enjoying it. And the last you have, and you've seen this before, and you'll see it again, and that's okay. The other thing I introduced is theming based around my cards. So I did this because I wanted to have more dedication to the energies that are a theme for the month, right? It's a monthly card. I want it to be like, I want my monthly card to be purposeful and to bring something to my life, not just like a little game thing I'm doing. So when I got the turtle card for 2020, all of my beginning spreads got turtles on them. When I got it again for January, same thing. And at the back of these trackers, I have a lot of trackers, is my tarot tracker. As you can see, it's getting filled out. What I did was, I have two decks I use for daily cards, and I wanted to be able to tell to tell which one I was using, right? Because right now I'm using the Wild Unknown Tarot. I don't know if and when I'll feel like using the Spirit Song Tarot again. So I kept that color code. This side right here is the legend for the Spirit Song Tarot. Acorns, feathers, shells, crystals, Spirit Song Tarot. And I set this up before I had the other tarot. So if I use these colors or these symbols, I know I've pulled from my Spirit Song deck. And then this side is the Wild Unknown Tarot. So if I use these colors, I've changed the colors a bit. So for swords, it's not pink. For swords, it's gray. If I've used and for cups, it's a different blue. If I've used these colors, these symbols, then I know I've pulled from my Wild Unknown Tarot. So right now I'm pulling from my Wild Unknown Tarot. The other thing I do for tarot is I did a dedication page to my card for the year, which is, this is based on numerology. My numerological card for the year is the wheel. So I did a page based on that. And that's it. I say that's it as if I didn't just talk for like, fucked if I know how long. But that's it. That is where I started with tarot journaling, and it wasn't even that long ago. It was just a bit over a year ago, or around about that. And that's how it's evolved in this year period of time. I really like what I'm doing now. I plan to keep doing it, and I will keep you updated on how that goes. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you liked what you saw. If you did and you want to see more of anything that you saw, let me know in the comments down below, and I'd be happy to see if I can't help you out with a video about that. If there is anything that you only like briefly saw, or just specific ideas you have for YouTube videos you might like to see from me, let me know of that as well. And I want to know, do you do any tarot journaling? Do you have videos of it? Anything. I want to know about it. So let me know in the comments down below. And last but certainly not least, if you want to find me on any of my other platforms, that information is linked in the description box. Every video I've got. And now I'm done. So thank you for joining me, and I hope we'll see you again soon. Love and light always. Bye.